Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to speak about common reasons for visa refusal. I have been refused visa 3 times. One from the UK, another one from US, and another one from Canada. But I've also received visa from these countries afterwards because I learned my lessons over time. And I've equally received visa. I've been to over 25 countries. I have applied for more than 60 visas. The first one is incomplete or not submitting complete document. So whatever visa application you're supposed to complete, make sure you complete all. Don't leave any blank where there should be something. Submit every supporting document that is required. Usually it's clearly listed what you should submit. The second one is where you're applying for a visa you're not qualified for. Yes, sometimes we apply for a visa we're not qualified for. So you need to check the visa categories and be sure that you're applying for what you're qualified for. The other one is where the immigrant intent is not clear. If you're applying for visitor's visa and it looks to the visa officer that you don't have intent to visit and go back home, there will be a refusal. So your intent should be clear and you'll be able to defend it during the interview. The other reason is public charge, what we call public charge in the US. This is where you're applying for a visa and it looks like you're going to become a primary dependent to the government. You don't have enough to sustain yourself, so you're a public charge. Another one that is very serious is fraud or misrepresentation. Don't say what is not true. Be honest. Don't misrepresent yourself. A typical example is where some people will tell you, oh, claim that you're married, because they will give married person visa more than single person. Who told you that? You just lied if you're not married and you claim that you're married. It's misrepresentation, it's a lie, it's a fraud. Don't do that. Single people get visas if they're qualified. Married people get visa if they're qualified. Your marital status is not what determines whether you get visa. There are several factors that determine that. The other one is if you have traveled to a country and you stayed there more than you should have. Every visa has a limitation or timeline, especially non-immigrant visa. And some countries will say you cannot stay more than 6 months and then you go and stay 7 months. You have already broken a law. So when you apply for visa, you will not be eligible. The next one is when you have failed to show a strong tie to your home country. If you're applying for visitor's visa, if you're applying for study permit, you're expected to show your tie to your country because those are non-immigrant visa and you're expected to go do whatever is taking you to those countries and go back home. So you should be able to show strong tie. What is strong tie? Strong tie could be a job, it could be a family, it could be children, it could be landed property, something strong enough to convince the visa officer that you have a strong tie in your home country. The other thing that could disqualify you is when you don't have confidence in yourself or your communication skill is poor. You're not able to explain yourself. The visa officer is asking you a question and you don't have an answer or you're not able to communicate. Sometimes it's shock and the environment puts some tension in us. But that is why you will prepare before the interview. And I had talked about violating previous visa. You have visited a country you're supposed to stay 2 weeks. That's what you wrote in your visa application, and then you have stayed even beyond the timeline that is required. Another one is criminal record. If you have committed any kind of fraud or you have any kind of criminal record, it could make you ineligible. In any of these categories, if you have been refused visa, don't go home weeping I've seen people asking me, I've got discouraged from trying because I was refused. No, don't be. Except you have very major bad case. I have been refused visa. I told you that I've been refused visa to UK, to US, to Canada before. And for each visa refusal, there is a reason. In my first UK, US visa refusal, I was a young graduate. I didn't have money in my account. I couldn't show that I am able to, I had thought that I had a good reason, but it wasn't enough, and it's written. I know why I was rejected. So I took a long break to build my career, make some money before I could represent myself when opportunity presented. And afterwards, I had received visa several times to these countries. So you need to think, why was I refused? Understand the reason you were refused. And if the reason you're refused is clear to you, then you will represent, you will reapply. I was refused visa to Canada even after I had been granted visa to Canada before. I took my time to read why was I refused visa. And the reason was that I did not have enough international travel experience. I looked at it, I read it again. It didn't make all the sense. But it was clear to me that I have more than enough international travel experience. So I went back to reapply. I made copies of my past visas, immigration stamps, and all that, and I attached them to explain that I think there was a mistake because I have this, and boom, I got my visa. So if you look at why you were refused, you reevaluate it and see if you can reapply. In some cases, you may even be qualified to apply for a waiver, but waivers usually the visa officer will tell you if you're eligible for waiver. Some people may say appeal the decision, but it's not usually the best. However, the refusal letter will tell you whether that visa you're eligible to appeal the decision or not. So don't go blindly. Finally, if you're not sure why you were refused and if you're able to reapply, what you can do is to consult an immigrant expert. Consult an immigrant expert who will review your case, review your letter of refusal, and then he or she will be able to advise you. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. And do stay tuned for my next exciting video.